words, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. We'll go to approval of the agenda. I have one item to add. Number 2, a sign variance for specialty truck for new business item 2.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Blade Anderson, and I apologize, Ms. Johnson, did not call roll at the beginning.
Anderson,
Here.
Blade,
Present.
Burks,
Present.
Butler,
Present.
Callie,
Here.
Jenkins,
Present.
Qualls, Shoelist. Here. Senyard.
Present.
Thank you. So now we have first and a second for the new agenda. Any discussion? Please call vote on that.
Blade,
Aye.
Anderson, Burks,
Aye.
Butler,
Aye.
Callie,
Aye.
Jenkins,
Aye.
Qualls, Shoelist,
Aye.
Senyard.
Aye.
Guys, sorry about that. Go to citizens' comments. Thank you, ma'am. Approval of the minutes from the July 14th, 2020 regular planning meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Burks, Blade, any additional discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Burks,
Aye.
Blade,
Aye.
Anderson, Butler,
Aye.
Callie,
Aye.
Jenkins,
Aye.
Qualls, Shoelist,
Aye.
Senyard.
Aye.
Yeah. Go to new business, item 1, site plan Cumberland Estate subdivision, phases 4 and 5, 44 building lots on 14.98 acres. Property owners Cumberland Estates LLC. Staff comments. Upon approval of Water Authority of Dixon County requirements, all WADC plan modifications will be completed prior to pre-construction meeting. Prior to pre-construction meeting, owner to supply city with pavement specifications for proposed development roadways, and staff recommends approval of site plan. Plat here in front of us.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple questions for the engineer.
Sir? If you could, please step up, sir, and state your name for us.
Eric Olson with Anderson Del Caps.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess my question is really for the city engineer, so you can clarify. In reviewing the materials for tonight, I know there were some issues with determining the stormwater calculations and whether or not the detention ponds would actually hold the correct amount, that based upon the calculations, it was over capacity. And I think that was caused by some sedimentation and some other things. Has the sedimentation issue been corrected?
So the first part is the overcapacity. So that was a clarification item that I asked clarification on in one of my comments. And it's not that the pond is over capacity, it's that it's accommodating additional capacity above and beyond what was approved in the previous phase due to some of the sediment issues and things like that, that current phases are going to be cleaning up. So the way it's been revised and resubmitted is that it's showing that the volume of the pond is at 101%. So that's not taking into account removal of sediment. So that's including the sediment that's in there. Now, on the second part, Mike and I went out last week and did a proof roll for a different phase, and they were currently stabilizing the banks of the pond, as well as taking some of the silt out. So it's not over capacity. It's the cup has gotten larger, I guess. It can hold more water than what was approved in phases 1 and 2 and 3. So
Okay. And my concern is that this development seems to consistently have issues with mud and other things washing out into the streams that are nearby. Because every time it happens, I get emails about it. So I'm aware how often it happens. And that's not something that should be happening, period. How is everything looking as far as silt fences and everything else that should be out there?
So for previous phases, that's something that TDEC is working with the owner as well as the city. We've done some inspections and sent some letters to get some of those banks stabilized that aren't under current construction based on TDEC requirements. It's our expectation that those things will get done very quickly. Per the TDEC requirements, they have within a day or two to stabilize those slopes and get that all straightened up. So routinely, I'm driving around and looking at construction sites and looking at EPSC because of that. And so TDEC has also recently come out and done some inspections themselves and found some things. So a lot of developers got letters in the last month. So it's something that we're working on. It's something we're working toward. This phase presented tonight, 4 and 5, is not broken ground, but it is the same name. It's just a different previous phases that have that. And my concern in reviewing this was because of some of the silt problems, and these two phases be accommodated by the pond and making sure everything gets balanced out.
And that's my concern, because once they start disturbing this, now we're going to have this red clay. It's got to go somewhere. And I want to make sure that everything's correct before we sign off on anything, because
Yes.
I know these people that are having to deal with these issues are tired of it. I can tell the frustration when I get the call, when I get the email. I don't like it. I don't want them anymore. I want it to be done right. I want all the erosion control in place as it's supposed to be. Otherwise, I'm not going to approve anything, or I'm not going to vote to anyway.
Right. And so one of the things that I've implemented through all my pre-construction meetings is that after the pre-construction meeting, before any ground is broken, a grading permit has to be filed and issued. In order to get that issued, we do a site visit and make sure that everything in their TDEC and EPSC permit is all in place and functional. There is some responsibility on the owner and the contractor to make sure that those things stay in place, but it's also something that I've been doing is going around and looking and seeing where silt fence is blown out, seeing where some of these other things have fallen short on what their intention was for best management practices. But I think we're moving in the right direction. It's right now trying to clean up some of the issues that were there before and not let things continue to happen moving forward.
In my understanding, there's another engineer on the project. Is that correct?
It's a set for this one, yes.
Okay,
This is our first phase.
okay.
First phase we're designing.
Congratulations.
No, we also, we proposed some temporary modifications to that outlet structure on that existing pond to provide some extra sediment storage to kind of help alleviate some of those issues. I know the developer's been working with TDEC as far as resolving any issues that pop up. TDEC has reviewed these plans. They're about to issue the NOI. They have reviewed the plan.
Are there phases beyond 4 and 5?
Yes, there'll be some more between road up top. There's, the middle of the section right there to the north. Between the north and Cumberland Drive, there's still some more sections right there to be developed. I think most of that drains towards the north, though.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson, if you could just turn on that mic for me.
You are a site engineer, is that what you specify?
Civil engineer.
Civil engineer?
Yes, sir.
And so, you're new with this project, is that correct?
This is our first phase for this. We were brought in after SEC did the original plans for the previous
Okay.
phase. So it's a new engineering company.
So you, okay, the soil out here, I guess you've worked out here before, but the soil out here.
Yeah, I know it's, it doesn't like to settle out, so.
Right, okay, and, because these, like they've said before, the erosion situation out there, it gets ugly real quick.
Yeah,
And there's all kinds of positive drainage and silt fences and filters and stuff that can be used that are readily available for these people to use. And when they get contaminated, they need to be replaced or repaired. And that has never happened. So good luck. We need your help.
I know the developer said he's starting to use flocculant out there to help settle out those particles in the water and sedimentation.
They also have to put manpower out there when it occurs, and that's usually the shortcoming. Thank you.
I will say, a representative, Ms. Jason Beavers, called me yesterday, apologized he couldn't be here tonight, but it did sound like they were making some very proactive things as far as new engineer and making some adjustments, and that he was working with TDEC quite a bit. He called me yesterday, and he had a family emergency he couldn't come to tonight, so. Any additional questions or discussion? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Jenkins, Qualls? Any additional discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Jenkins.
I'm sorry, I had an
Yes, sir,
additional
sorry.
item. I'm sorry.
Mr. Burks?
Can we make sure that that approval includes the
Staff comments?
staff comments?
Sir.
I will amend my motion to include the staff comments. So I make a motion to approve according to the staff comments as well.
Qualls, what do you say? Thank you, sir. Any additional questions or discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Jenkins.
Aye.
Qualls. Anderson. Blade.
Aye.
Burks.
Aye.
Butler.
Aye.
Callie.
Aye.
Schulist.
Aye.
Senyard. Aye.
Thank you, sir. New business item 2, a sign variance for specialty truck. Or specialty trucking, I apologize. Mr. Collins, you want to speak to that?
Yes, sir. Members of the commission, Specialty Trucking has applied for a sign variance primarily for height, as you can see depicted on the photograph they've provided. This variance was approved by the Board of Zoning Adjustment in 2016. However, because of the economy and because of some other external factors, not a fault of the business or the sign vendor, the sign was never installed. They've recently applied again for a variance simply because their first application or their first variance had expired. We've gone out and reviewed the site. One of the questions we had was specific to state right-of-way. There was concern about whether or not the sign would be in the state right-of-way. The state has confirmed that the sign is not in the state right-of-way, so there is no issue there. The variance application is substantially unchanged from when it was previously. They're primarily asking for height variance specific to the need as it relates to the truck and the business that they are in. Obviously, they're in the trucking business. Those trucks are taller than your standard vehicle. They're looking to make sure they accommodate the height of their sign specific to the business that they are in. Mr. Skip Hoolan is here from Signs and Wonders. He can answer any additional questions regarding the sign itself. Again, this was previously approved, simply expired. It comes with a favorable recommendation from staff tonight for your approval for the requested variance.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
How much difference is there in the height of what would normally be allowed versus what they're requesting?
Commissioner Burks, Mr. Hoolan can answer that, but I believe the height's about 6 feet.
Okay.
It's 13 feet higher than what the ordinance allows. The reason why it's shown on there, the truck's 13.6. We're asking for the bottom of the sign to be 14 foot. And then he has an 80 by 90 LED message board that will be on there. And then a 36 by 90 inch lit cabinet with his name above that.
So typically, we have like a monument standard is the new sign standard, so it's a smaller, more rectangular, lower sign. I think we did grant a sign variance in height for the shell right up the road from this because it was near the interstate. You couldn't see it over the hill, if I remember correctly, just for reference.
Will this be a lit sign? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, LED.
Is there a way to be able to turn the lighting down after a certain time period? Because I know those things are pretty bright.
The new ones, all the new ones that we have automatic sensors on them, and they turn down, on a cloudy day, they'll turn down, on a real bright sunny day, they'll turn up, at nighttime, they turn down real low.
Okay.
We run about 23% capacity at night, even with the sensor on there, it makes the signs last longer. Some of the people that we sold to earlier couldn't have sensors, because they didn't have the technology for these signs for that.
Yeah, those are the ones that make me feel like there's a cop behind me. Yeah.
They could turn them down, but some of the people won't listen to us, and they've made a bad reputation for us.
Okay.
I agree.
That makes me feel much better.
They're mandatory on all of our signs now that I don't do it now.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Burks, and who's the second? Mr. Mayor Blade. Burks, Blade, any additional questions or discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Burks,
Aye.
Blade,
Aye.
Anderson, Butler,
Aye.
Callie,
Aye.
Jenkins,
Aye.
Qualls, Shoelist,
Aye.
Senyard. Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hewlin. No bonds and letters of credit tonight, so we'll go for reports for discussion information. City planning staff and city manager, Mr. Collins.
Nothing else for you tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. City engineer, Mr. Blackburn.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. City attorney, Mr. Potter. Communication from planning commission members, Commissioner Burks.
I want to thank everybody from the BOC and the Planning Commission for coming out tonight for the workshop. It's always good when we can get together to kind of be on the same page with some issues that we're going to be facing. So I really do appreciate everyone taking their time for that. That's all.
Sure. Ms. Shoelist,
Nothing for me.
Senior,
Nothing for me.
Jenkins.
Mr. Collins, thank you for the workshop tonight. In regards to the kind of the team going forward on like to go out and check out the other neighborhoods and stuff like that, the other cities, I'd love to be able to allocate some time to that if that's something that you need people for.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Callie.
Mr. Collins. Stable Acres, whatever, is there any resolution on that one?
Yes, sir. The fence was removed today. The HOA removed the fence and removed the electronics in the island. We will follow that up with a consultation with the developer and move forward with the resurfacing of the road.
Great. And I know we've talked about this ever since Micah, but the sunsetting of the different plans and stuff that's sitting out there, we're still looking into that, or is that going to be part of this whole discussion we're having now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And also, like Mr. Jenkins, I'd like to volunteer for that committee too, if you're looking for more than one person.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Sir. Ms. Qualls.
Same for me, Mr. Collins. I'd be interested in being on that committee as well. I've been thinking along those lines myself.
Mayor Blade.
Thank you, Mr. Collins, for a great workshop tonight. Really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you, sir. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Anderson.
I'd just like to amen. I know there's a lot of work put into what you did tonight, or the staff assisted you. I don't care who did it, but it was a great job. And in my opinion, it's time the city really started to mature and do these things that not only, I think, once you have fine-tuned your planning and zoning and your zoning status, people understand what they can or cannot do, and they will come, I think, and participate with the city because they will know what's going to be around them and not have a surprise coming. And you develop a hamburger joint and it fails, and all of a sudden you got a beauty parlor or a dance studio in that same facility. The guy next door going to be awful disappointed. So with defining the use of the different commercial zoning, I think is a great step forward. And also the talk about the subdivision where you're gonna have to go to an R15 in order to get the sewer system in place. That's the only way Fairview is gonna grow. You're not gonna get sewers from Dixon, and it might happen in the future, but not in the near future. And this city's gonna have to realize that it's gonna be sand systems or step systems, and you've got to allot the land for it. And then the subdivisions have to maintain their storm drainage. When we hit this 10,000, that's gonna be on us. And that's gonna be a game changer, so we gotta get it right now. I'm sorry to talk too long, but I'm really happy about what you did.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you for putting that together. It's very well. I would also like to sign up if we're signing up for that committee, but I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.